I'm here with my friend Miranda, and we were just talking right beforehand, and I was getting teary. So, this is going to be a good, heartfelt conversation when the tears have already started flowing.
Oh,
Welcome,
yeah.
Miranda.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Oh my gosh. You and we got to connect a couple years ago at a conference, an amazing conference hosted by our mutual friend Brooke Hemingway called Align. And when I met you, you just meet those people and just have like this warmth and this energy. And I immediately felt drawn and we became fast friends. So here we are talking 2 years later.
It's crazy, and I'm honestly so grateful. You know, when they say, like, get in the room, you just never know what's going to happen. Honestly, it's sometimes these little connections that turn into beautiful friendships that mean the most to me. So I'm so grateful.
Mm. Well, I so appreciate you being here and saying yes to coming on and sharing about your story, your life, what you're navigating through. You really are such a bright light to watch in online. You haven't gone through a fertility path. We're not talking really about fertility today, but what I love bringing in are guests who have wisdom, are living life, have navigated through hard things. Like we're all going through something, and you have so much to share for women who are navigating through struggles, through wanting to be a mom, who may be going through loss, grief. We're going to be talking about that today. Really
Mhm.
topics that just aren't talked about a lot, but I want to invite these spaces to share and just truly open up. So I'm just so grateful to you for being here. And I see behind you Mickey Mouse ears, which I forgot we had that connection too. For anyone watching on the YouTube channel, I'm like, oh my gosh, I used to work at Disney World, and you commented on one of those, like, what?
Remember.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we could touch upon a lot today, but a bit about like let's talk about you and kind of your background because you are living in Colombia. You
Mhm.
moved from New York 3 years ago
Yeah, about.
and really had this vision of creating your dream life.
Mhm.
I'm curious to know, like, to hear from you, what are you creating? What is that dream life when you're deciding to choose yourself and intentionally, like, I'm moving there? Like, give us a little background on like who you are and just kind of how that's evolved, your dream life.
Sure. So getting very real and raw here.
Yeah.
Back then, when I was in New York, I was with my then boyfriend, David. And I say this is very much God-led because I always said, since I was a little girl, my parents are Colombian. I would come during summer break to Colombia and I loved it. And I would say, when I retire at 65, I'm going to go and live in Colombia. That's the goal. And then COVID happened, and it truly changed my whole mindset about life of why am I going to wait till I'm old, tired, sick to start having a quality lifestyle. And suddenly, out of nowhere, it was this gut feeling of, I want to go live in Colombia now. And I
Mm.
think I was about 22, 23 years old. And when I say it was very much God, it was because David also had that same gut feeling. I never like forced him or pushed him, let's do this. No, him on his own also came to that conclusion. And we very much united in that. And our dream together was honestly to come here, get married, start a family live in a farm in the countryside, but also in the city, travel together. That was the dream, which, of course, as you'll hear more of my story, has definitely evolved.
Mm. So were you doing the same kind of work in New York that you're doing now, or did you start your business out there?
No, when I was in New York, I worked behind the scenes on Broadway shows, TV and film, events. So it was very all in person, working 12 to 16 hours every day. I loved it. But when I came to Colombia, I definitely had to let that chapter of my life go. And that's when I decided to open up my virtual assistant business, which I still run today.
Hmm. Okay, so you're still in Colombia, and what shifted? Like, what can you share a little bit about with you and David in your path? Because I too don't know fully your whole story
Mhm.
and just bits and pieces of it, but I welcome you to kind of share wherever you'd like to lead how that changed and shifted for you.
So what really changed the the whole journey was once we were here, living here, um, he was struggling with drug addiction. And let's just say he spiraled very quickly. And it got to a point where, you can only help someone so much as long as they are open to that help. So it became very hard on me, my whole family, my whole life. It impacted, my business as well. And it made me get to a point to choose, can I still be in this marriage? Because at that point we were married. We did at least get married here, which was part of our dream.
Mm.
Mhm.
So you got married, and that was out shortly after you moved to Colombia?
Yes, about 8 months, something like that. 6, 8 months.
Okay. And I don't know what all unfolded. Um, you've gone through some unimaginable loss and grief.
Mhm.
And I always say, like, life is about holding on and letting go. It's like, I'm sure you were holding on to this marriage and seeing this side of David, like grieving, I don't know, the potential. What you were grieving was this loss of, like, this isn't who he is, and grieving, maybe grieving part of yourself in together. Like, what was that like?
I always say the very first thing that I had to grieve was our dreams of
Mm,
starting a family together. My biggest goal in life, wish, is to become a mother. So with him, that was the end goal and everything to me, everything. Like we had the names of our kids picked out. I could just vision it, see it, feel it. It was right there. And then suddenly I felt like God had just ripped it all away. And I didn't understand why. There were so many questions as to like, what is happening? Why is this happening to me? But
mm,
isn't this your wish, God? Like, this is what you wanted for me. And, very proudly, I would say, I follow you. I'm Catholic. What happened? What did I do wrong? So all of those questions started brewing, if you will.
so many who are listening in the fertility space can relate to that question. Why is this happening to me?
Mm.
We often don't know why we're confronted with challenges in our life. And they can be some of our biggest teachers, almost like guideposts guiding us, like to the path we're meant to be on, to the people we're meant to meet, to the opportunities, right? What have you learned from the challenges that you and David went through? Like, what's something that kind of catapulted you in your life in a different direction?
In a way, I understand why it happened, why it had to happen the way that it did. And that's, after doing a lot of inner work for the last few years and my relationship growth with God. But mm, it's changed me personally. I had to grow. I had to change because I was very different 3 years ago when all of this was happening. And slowly but surely, each piece of every part of my grieving processes, I became stronger, wiser, more ready. I grew the trust in myself that, nowadays I can apply not just to my personal life, but my business. So I'm able to feel grateful for that part of like, I am who I am today because I went through all of that.
I met you probably right after all of this had just happened, maybe.
Hmm. Yeah.
Are you open to sharing kind of what happened, what unfolded with you and David? I don't remember the events that took place, but you had been married for a few years. Was it a couple of, how many years were you married?
Just one.
1 year. Okay. And was it a decision you made to leave?
Yes, correct. I
Okay.
remember feeling so much guilt that we had just been married for a year, and I thought, what are people going to say? What are they gonna think? Like, it's only been a year.
Mm,
I'm the worst daughter. I've failed at life. I couldn't even be married for like, a few
mm,
years at least.
mm,
Like, what is everyone, society
mm.
gonna think of me? So I had to work a lot through that in order to make the first decision of I can no longer be in this relationship, this marriage. And then I chose separation, and we were separated when he passed away due to an overdose.
Mm.
So that's what happened right before we met. Yeah.
Oh gosh, Miranda. Choosing you is one of the hardest. It sounds simple, right? To choose ourselves. And I can imagine all of the feelings you were must have been grappling with at that time. Like, I want to choose happiness. I want to choose, like, what was going through your mind? I want to choose fulfillment. I want to choose me over a path of this destructive path that you saw in him. Like, what was going through your mind?
So I really went in, or even if I didn't do it on purpose, I just could not feel it. My body was speaking to me, my nervous system was speaking to me, screaming, like, get out, stop it, stop the pain. Because anything he would do, if it was a situation because of the drugs or just his character of manipulation, of getting angry, his anxiety, just it would be another like stab into my body, and it just felt so painful. And all of this was happening behind the scenes, like no one, or my parents knew, but anyone outside that didn't really know what was happening, our friends, no one on social media knew what was happening. It was all very internal. um so it was not easy. Like from the outside, maybe it does seem like, oh yeah, she made that decision real quick, and that was simply not the case.
I appreciate you opening up so much and just sharing. I really relate to what you said about the body speaks to us
Yeah.
sometimes before the mind, right?
Hmm.
Like the body doesn't lie. Like the body, I can so relate to the nervous system. Like really, when if it's in fight or flight, it can wreak havoc like in just multiple areas of your life where it's like I'm sure it impacted, like you said, like it was your business, like all different things are impacted. And so what were I mean, gosh, grieving through what your body's going through. I'm sure you're still in a state of like healing. I see you dancing. I see you like filling your cup up with so
Mhm.
much light and surrounding yourself in sisterhood community. Share a bit of like how you've been able to kind of navigate through some of this grief and heartache and how it's been healing you and your body.
I would definitely say, well, I think I'll never finish healing. It's
Yeah.
always an ongoing process, but I am definitely in a beautiful place where, like I said before, I can feel gratitude for everything that's happened the way it did.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you mentioned sisterhood, and that's honestly been a huge help, even having mentors that guide you, because sometimes it does feel like you're so alone, like no one understands you, not even your own family or your closest friends, because this is hard stuff that not usually, it's not
Mm-hmm.
something we talk about or share. So I would say just being in community is so important because you do need that support. And as someone who has always been so independent, like I got it, I don't have to talk about it,
Mm-hmm.
it's so important to learn to let go and receive.
And then were you starting to open up to friends and more people with what you're going through? Were you welcoming in that support at that time?
For sure. When he passed away, I definitely felt that I needed space. I was like, I don't want to see anyone until the funeral. Like, I cannot receive a single hug until that day. I will accept it then. And I listened to my body in that moment, and that's what I needed. But it was the after that, the healing process of, okay, now I do need support. And I'm going to go back just a tidbit before he passed, when
Mm-hmm.
I was learning about addiction, what it was, because I had no idea what the world of addiction was, because I never had a family member or a friend. So I, by the grace of God, Naranon, which is the support group for the family members, came into my life. And that's where I learned so much, how to deal with these emotions, how to deal with the addict and how they respond to something. All of that was happening before I even made the decision to
Mm-hmm.
separate from him. So again, there is that support of community that you absolutely need, especially when you have to make hard decisions.
And this was something you discovered. Was he kind of hiding from you, or was he open about what he was going through? Like how?
So the years before this blow up, if you will,
Mhm.
he always spoke about it as his past,
Mm.
as it happened before, it's never going to happen again. I'm okay. I'm better.
Okay.
And you could say it was because I was so young, I was 19, and because I didn't know anything about addiction or how it worked, and how it never does go away. I said, "Oh, okay, great. Yeah, that's in your past. We all have things in our past." And he never took ownership of I am a recovering drug addict. So that
Mm.
was and nothing ever did happen before then. So everything was very hidden. Everything was okay until we moved here to Colombia.
Oh, okay. I can imagine just grieving uh, so many things, and the idea you shared with me that you did want a family together,
Hmm.
and that vision was gone, right?
Yeah. Biggest heartbreak, I would say. The first of many.
Yeah. We are not alone in dealing with grief. At the time I was going through IVF, my mom was getting sicker and sicker, and she got to make it to our daughter's first birthday. But it's a loss that is always with you, just like
Yeah.
a part of you. And her symbol for me is a grasshopper. I have a picture behind, and
Oh, that's why that's so
uh-huh.
beautiful.
Yeah, there's so much symbolism and moving forward. That's what a grasshopper is like. They move forward in life. That has been
Mhm.
a constant source of like strength for me to keep moving forward through hard times. And just something else I learned about what grasshoppers represent, they respond to sound vibrations, and it's about trusting your inner voice and listening to your inner voice. Like my mom would always say, like, listen to your inner voice, like you've got it. And I'm just
I
as you're
just got chills.
oh
Oh.
thank you. I I don't know if there's a symbol that has kept you moving forward in life. I'm curious. Something symbolic, spiritual that, yeah, you're shaking your head. What is it?
I'll show you right here. It's my tattoo and it's a double rainbow
Oh.
because when David passed, we were not able to receive his body for a week. And we didn't know even if we were gonna get it back. It could have been a month or 2 months because of the legal visa from the United States with Colombia. And
Mm-hmm.
another miracle, so many miracles along the way, we were able to get him back a week after. So it was that week of just on the phone, calling, stressing, like feeling the grief, just so many things. And that whole week, I'm not exaggerating, it was so cloudy and just rainy in Medellin, Colombia, the whole week, every single day, even the day of his funeral. And when the mass finished at the very end, when we all get up and go out to walk out with the casket, we see this beautiful double rainbow right in front. Oh my God, my hairs are standing up as I'm talking about it. And I can't explain it, but
Mm-hmm.
it was just a feeling of
Yeah.
for the first time in that whole week of madness. And I just felt something of, you're going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's okay. I'm okay, in the sense of David talking to me. And I really did feel that that was him. That's what I believe. Someone else could be like, Miranda, you're crazy. I'm like, no, that's what it is. And ever since then, the last 2 years, anytime I see a rainbow, for me, it's a symbol of hope. It's a symbol of no matter how bad the storm is, how hard it's raining, the sun will always come out, the rainbow will always come out. And that's why it's my
Mm.
tattoo.
That's so beautiful. And I can imagine like just a peace came over
Mm.
you. And these symbols do, they give me so much peace when I see my sign, and it's like, yep, like keep moving forward, like
Yeah,
we're not alone.
that's right.
Surrender and trusting the path, letting go of control, all of these ideas are really challenging for my clients going through fertility
Mm.
struggles. And I'm curious, as you've navigated through uncertainty, loss, grief, how have you been able to navigate through with a sense of trusting the path ahead, letting go, surrendering? What comes to mind?
The first thing that comes to mind is I'm so grateful that my whole life, my parents gave me my religion, which is, Catholic. And it's always been my foundation, no matter what's happened in my life.
Mm,
And I've seen people who have gone through what I've gone through or something similar, and they don't have that foundation of, doesn't have to be, that you're Catholic, but of religion or spirituality.
hmm
And they go down these really dark paths. So the first thing is I am grateful that I had that strong foundation that has grown because of all of this, but that's kept me centered. Um, and yeah, it's so hard to let go. It's scary because we don't know what's ahead of us. But when you have that belief in something bigger, whether it's the universe, God, you realize that you're not alone, that everything is not happening to me, but for me, whether I I see it or not in the moment, it's okay if you don't,
Yeah,
but still holding on to that trust that God, Lord, universe, I see you, I trust you. I don't know my step ahead, but I'm gonna go for it, you know? Being brave. Yeah.
that really speaks to me. Having a mantra, right? Something you're repeating to yourself. And mine was always expect something wonderful to happen.
Yeah.
Feeling that unshakable faith, like, and knowing that I would be okay no matter what through IVF, like our struggles. And I say this about our fertility path with what infertility and everything has taught me. It's like it tests you, it challenges you, and it transforms you.
Hmm.
And what you've navigated through with your husband and losing him, but holding on to you and holding on to faith. And like, thank you for speaking to that unshakable foundation that really supported you, because I think that is such a key part of helping us navigate through really hard things with what we're going through in the world. Everyone is feeling, I think, a collective, almost like unstable, instability, this shakeup in our lives. So, what are we leaning on to help us reroute, reground? Everything you're sharing it resonates deeply.
I want to share something right before I hopped on this call. I opened Instagram for just a second, and
Yeah.
this was the first reel that popped up, and it's a quote that says, "Blessed is the crisis that made you grow, the fall that made you gaze up to heaven, the problem that made you look for God." And
Mm.
I just thought that was very fitting for what we're talking about.
Blessed. Read that one more time. Let me hear it one more time. Blessed.
Absolutely.
Please.
Blessed is the crisis that made you grow, the fall that made you gaze up to heaven, the problem that made you look for God.
Mm. How can we find gratitude in the crisis, the fall, the problems? we're not we're not immune to them. And if
Mm,
I always say, if we're fully living, we're going to experience all the complexities of life.
that's right.
We don't grow up. Something my mom would tell me, I'm looking at her picture on the wall right now. It's like we don't learn from when the times are smooth sailing.
Oh no.
We want to be in that state. We want everything to just go smooth. And yeah, I'm all about living in the flow. Don't get me wrong. But it's like when we really build our character, when we really are tested to our limits,
Mm-hmm.
it's in the crisis, the fall.
100%.
Coach Dar. We've both heard her
Yes.
speak, and she talks about, like, what is it? The further you fall, the higher you can bounce back, kind of that
Yeah,
idea.
and she's so right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that has to be one of the lessons I've learned with grief.
Mm,
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, it needed to happen, but it's also part divine and part human, as in you also get to choose who you become and what you do.
mm.
in that season of your life that's hard.
It's so
Yeah.
true. I watch you and I see you seeking spaces of personal development and like always seeking the path of like inner discovery and growth, which I do too. And that's why you and I resonate so much, I think too. Being in those spaces. And I'm just curious, like, how has doing this inner work supported you through some of the toughest seasons of your life?
I would not be who I am without it. I am so blessed that I started in the personal development space for myself when I was still in New York, like way before any of this happened. And I just so genuinely loved it. I loved learning. I loved being surrounded by like-minded women who also wanted to grow. And it was something I had never been or done before, you know?
Mm,
And then I just, after that, made sure that every year I was, whether I was working with a life coach or attending a personal conference or reading a book, like just, I always wanted to improve and better, not just for myself, but in relationship with friends, with my partner, in my business, just in all aspects, because I think it's so important to stay humble, to be a student of life, and to
mm.
always be open to evolving. So I am very grateful for those
Yep.
spaces.
I love that. If we're not open, what are we doing? We're shriveling, we're shrinking, we're
Hmm.
thinking of like a flower, a plant. I mean, it needs water to grow. It needs fertilizer and food. And like, what are we feeding ourselves on a daily basis? Do you have practices or mindset kind of shifts, things that you think about that for those listening to who are on a fertility path, which I know again, you don't know that personally, but just the waiting and there's grief and there's loss and there's heartbreak. And you're like wondering why me, like what comes to mind to like support a woman who may be just like, okay, yes, working on myself is important. And they want to maybe develop some practices to
Hmm.
kind of like, help them on this path. What do you think about when I say that?
Sure. The first thing that comes to mind is creating a time and a space for yourself, whether it's very early in the morning before all the craziness happens or late at night, when everything has settled. But just sitting down by yourself, you could turn on a diffuser or a candle, have a journal, and write out your thoughts. Your,
Mm,
even if it's fears or crazy ideas or something exciting that's happening or that you want to manifest, just write it out. And that could also become a conversation with the universe, with God, with yourself, your inner child. Like there's so much you can play and do there to center yourself as all the craziness is happening around you, where things are unsettled, where things are not so sure, right? Because you're going through this very hard process of unknowns. There's a lot of unknown. So I think just connecting to yourself and your higher up is is a beautiful way to start there. And very slowly you start to release and let go and things start to flow. Because I feel like sometimes, especially as women, we want, everything now, everything specifically our way, like this and this and this,
mm-hmm.
that we become so tight and rigid.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's not our natural energy.
Mm-mm.
So
Mm.
doing that practice very naturally, you start to breathe it out.
That's so good. I love that you're talking about making space because so many who are going on this path, like, very controlling, want to have a timeline in mind that goes a certain
Mhm.
way, have things to specifically happen the way, you have it in your mind. But if we are holding on too tightly, we are not making the space for the magic to enter, the miracles, the serendipity, all of it that is really where like it just is so much more freeing to live in a space of like I'm doing everything I can do. And there's an element of like, I'm setting aside, I'm letting go. I'm gonna live my life. And for you, I know like dancing, I want you to share about that because I've watched you and like it's so cool, like movement, the power of movement. Talk about
Mm.
making space and taking up space with our body.
Yes.
Like you're doing so many dances in Colombia, and I love it. It's inspiring me to like, I want to get out and do some more Latin dancing.
You should. Oh my
I
God.
love it.
Honestly, when I dance, I feel so connected to my inner child because I just have
Yeah.
always loved to dance. And
Yeah.
it's so freeing and it's fun. And that's alone has been a process for me because I used to dance professionally my whole life. So I was
Oh,
wired to like always look in the mirror, like, is this perfect? If it's not perfect, it's not good enough. Like just a lot of hateful, like energy towards myself. And I've had to unravel that learning and, dance. And if it feels good, that's
yes.
more than enough. So, yes, that's another great way to release.
More expression. Like talk
Yeah.
about the dancing. I forget you were a professional dancer. Share a bit about that. I forgot.
Sure. So I've been dancing since I was 3, 4 years old, and I did it until I was 18. My high school major, because in New York we have majors in high school,
Oh.
was dancing. So I was always dancing. But then at the same time, especially towards like middle school, high school, I discovered stage management, which was behind the scenes of, backstage. So
Mm,
I ended up doing a bit of both, and I loved it until I hit a point of like, hey, okay, what am I going to do in college? Do I want to dance full time or do I want to do behind the scenes full time? And my soul really, really wanted behind the scenes.
and that's what kind of what you do in businesses today. You're behind the scenes as a
Yes,
VA. So you're still carrying
yes,
over that idea of like stage producer, manager. I don't know what the term is.
yes. No, no, totally. It's a way I honor my gift, my God-given gift of supporting and helping. Like I truly do love that. I love supporting, whether it's one person, a woman, or if it's a company or a production. Like I love it.
Mm, thanks for sharing that.
Mhm.
You talked about keeping your inner child alive and that spirit of fun and joy, even
Mhm.
despite going through hard things. And I think you also have dealt with, was it your father who's had a diagnosis? Can you
Yeah.
share what's happening?
So that was so hard. And this was, I want to say, like 8 months after David passed. I
Mm,
had gone to New York to give away our puppy that I share with David, Gracie, to his parents because they had so kindly and very respectfully asked if there was any way they could keep her.
mm.
And Gracie was my rock, my everything. She was my daughter, like truly. So I prayed about it, I thought about it, and I made the decision to, sacrifice my own joy and happiness in that sense and give it to them because she was the last living piece of David. She was half
Mm,
me, half David. And they had just lost their only son. Like I wanted to give them a little bit of joy, and I knew she would give them that.
wow,
So
Miranda.
that was the hardest thing I've let go of in my life till this day, letting her go. And I visit her, once a year, and it's amazing. But that moment alone was so painful.
Mm,
So, where I'm going with this is I return from that trip. Literally, the day I return, my mother has a conversation with me of your father was diagnosed with Alzheimer's slash Parkinson.
mm,
So you can imagine, how I was already feeling from what I had just done to now coming home and I'm a daddy's girl. So to hearing these news, because it's not that they died, right? But it's the start of them dying in front of your eyes because they're
mm.
still alive, but over
Oh yeah.
time they decay.
Yeah.
So today he's doing so good. He's doing so well. If you see him, like you wouldn't know.
Hmm.
And I am so grateful for that every single day, just to see him, go to church with him and my mom, and like, oh my
Mm.
God, they're still here. I don't know how long I have, but today they're here. And that's everything.
Wow. You're able to see him and visit him.
Yes. So I am so lucky that they do live very close to me. And
Mm,
I made the decision that every Sunday we go to church together. We have
mm,
brunch after, we catch up, we gossip about family. Like we just have family time always together. And whenever they need me, hey, Miranda, can you come and help me with this? I'm like, absolutely.
mm. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I resonate with what you're sharing. Watching your loved one declining right in front of you, it is like a very long goodbye. It's really hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
For a woman listening who's in the middle of her fertility path or treatments, and they might feel like life is on hold for them, what perspective, like, do you wish you could, that she could borrow maybe from your journey, what you've gone through?
Maybe someone else would say, no, your life is not on hold. I think differently.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it is. And it's supposed to be on hold. I remember seeing this meme, if you want to call it that, where God is holding the person and the person's like, but I gotta go. You know, like, what do you mean? And little did they know that there's something over here happening that if they had gone, it would have been very bad. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, God was absolutely holding that person for a very good reason, even though they didn't see it. That's how I've chosen to see my experience and how I would share with someone else going through their own experiences. Yeah, maybe this is your holding season.
Mm-hmm.
Embrace it because maybe because of it, you're going to get exactly what you are dreaming of
Mm-hmm.
or even better. And to that, I say, especially as women, if you're type A, we love to plan everything. We're like, it has to be like this and this and this timeline, boom, 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 boom. And then the universe or God just sits there and laughs at us, like, oh,
Yeah.
you're funny.
I'll throw a pandemic in your face. Here we go.
Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah. And then
Whatever.
things
Step back.
go
Mm.
totally different.
Mm.
So, yeah,
Oh,
I would say accept your holding season.
that's really good advice, Miranda. And I think, yeah, you're so right with God, source, universe, whatever you believe. There's like a divine orchestration, I believe, to our
Mm.
lives. You and I both got to hear Coop Blackson speak. I was so moved by his talk. And he was on this podcast. His wisdom too. Do you remember him talking about just trusting the flow of life? Like
Mhm.
life is leading us and we don't need to force anything. No.
Yes, oh my God, I just got so many thoughts
Yes.
on that.
I remember you
Absolutely.
and I like scribbling notes listening to him talk. He's amazing. Um, but trusting life, even though we might not know the outcome.
Mm.
Where in your life can you share right now are you trusting even without knowing an outcome?
My business.
Yeah.
Mm.
Relatable.
Be-
I know all of us solopreneurs, right?
Yep. I mean, someone said the other day, being an entrepreneur is spiritual, and I'm like, yes,
It
it
is. It's the biggest teacher. It will bring up all the shadows, all of the everything,
is.
golden shadow, the everything, right? Where are we hiding in plain sight? Where are we? I don't know. I could go down. That's a whole nother talk.
I mean, we could expand on this so much. But yes, my business. And speaking of letting go, I'm not perfect. Like, I'm human, so I'm still learning to let go in other aspects. But I hired for the very first time my first team member to support me in my business. And it was hard. It might sound silly, but it was hard because I had to let go of, oh my God, what if this person doesn't do a good job, like letting go of the work that I've done and do for my clients. But then it's like, well, what if this person does a better job than me? Like, and is a positive, is a good change. And my life coach told me, Miranda, you got to put, what is it? The stake in the sand. Like
Mm,
if you have a vision to expand and grow and have more income, put it down, put that stake down and commit to making that first scary step of hiring someone. There's no guarantee that this is going to come out great. It's going to be a success, that you're going to get to where you want, but you're
mhm,
committing to yourself and you're trusting yourself that this might be okay and this is my new path. And I feel that on such a energy level. Like
mhm.
this is a beautiful season of growth for me. So I'm choosing
Love
to
that.
trust it and let it go.
Congratulations.
Thank
I see
you.
that with clients too. It's like making that. that choice, I'm going to commit to getting help. You know, when people invest in a coach, it's like, okay. And then the energy starts shifting. Like, I don't know if you've already seen that in your business,
Yes.
like
Yes.
maybe some new good things coming your way, or just like you said, energetically, that's what I'm all about. It's key to, it starts with us, right? And
Because
consciously
you allow
choosing.
yourself to open, as we said earlier.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, your business, it's going to expand, I'm sure, and just blow up. You're doing amazing work. And
Thank
I'll
you.
include in the show notes, like how people can find you. But do you want to share any links or website on Instagram where people can follow along with you?
I would just say my Instagram is the best and fastest way to connect to me. I love voice messages, so if anyone wants to send me voice messages, please do.
And your handle is at
Your assistant, Miranda C.
Miranda C.
Hmm.
Your assistant, Miranda C. Okay, everyone go follow her, check her out. I just love you. I just think, just having sisterhood and how we met, and beautiful things can come when we do say yes. And that was my first Align conference. I think I messaged you when I saw a post of yours like, "Hey, I'm flying in and anybody want to meet?" Or do you remember that? And it was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I was the one that sent you that message." Anyway, it's just cool when you do say yes to new experiences and put yourself out there. And I'm so grateful to know you.
Likewise, sister. And it's been so beautiful to see you evolve the last few years, maybe in unexpected ways, ways you didn't think you would.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful and it's yours.
Aw, thank you, girl. I love you. I
Mhm.
can't wait to share this episode. And yeah, we'll talk very soon.